Welcome to the Help Her Be Brave podcast show. I'm Amy Ford, and today we are talking to my friend Leah, who I love so much. I met her one time at this pro-life feminist group that we kind of met with some pro-life leaders, and we really wanted to really reinvent and have a new narrative for what feminism is. We believe that feminism is pro-life. It's about women empowerment. And I met Leah through that and was just so amazed. Like, this girl went to school for feminism. She knows so much about the history of feminism, about women, and she's so encouraging, and she's a mom of 7 kids. Like, she's just doing it all. And she's a lactation consultant and started this amazing organization, Guiding Star, that I'm going to tell you guys about, or she's going to tell you guys about. So I'm just super pumped that y'all are going to get to meet her because she's one of my dearest friends. Hey, Leah, thank you so much for being on today.
Hey, Amy, it's so nice to hear from you again.
I know, it's been a little while. I just love your heart so much for women, and I don't think that I've ever met anyone that knows, at least that I know of, that knows so much about the history of women. And I love that it's like what you studied in college and all of that, of just what holistic feminism is, and so much so that you wrote a book about it, which I totally want to hear about all of that too. But first, why do you feel like you're so passionate about the pro-life movement?
Oh my gosh, my roots in the pro-life movement go back to just being little. And I grew up on a dairy farm, and so I always had a lot of new life in animals, and just a lot of seasons and changing around me. And there were always a lot of new babies, kittens, puppies, human babies. My family loved babies, little cousins always running around. And so I had a really strong understanding at a really young age of just how good and beautiful life is. And it never occurred to me that anybody would throw that away or see that as bad or see that as anything other than just pure gift. Because every time a new little animal or human was born, everybody rejoiced, and I was always so happy. And so I think my pro-life indoctrination came from just being really aware of the goodness of life in general, of being created and alive. And it kind of translated then as I got older, and I started to learn that people didn't always treasure life, and they didn't see it as a gift. And it was shocking and disturbing. And I felt this need to just tell people, no, do you understand everything that had to go exactly right for that life to happen? Do you understand that this doesn't just always happen, that it's miraculous, that it's all gift? We can't just will it when we want it. It's given from above, and we're the recipients of it. So that was kind of my start in pro-life work and ministry, was just really wanting people to understand the goodness of nature, right, and how we were made as human beings.
Yeah, the sanctity of life, and just, the miracle of what our bodies can do and how God made us. And I love your passion for that as well. And so you created kind of a pregnancy center model, and I want you to explain a little bit. And I've taught, a lot of the people that listen, most of them would know what a pregnancy center is, and we have had several on, but the way Leah does it is a lot different, and it's really cool. Guiding Star. So tell us a little bit about Guiding Star and why you created it.
Yeah, like you said, it's somewhat similar to a pregnancy center model in that it's a place for women that are just needing support and love to go to be really cared for and taken care of. But it's beyond, I think, what you would typically think of with a pregnancy center, in that it takes a really proactive approach to form relationships with women long before they're ever in, a crisis pregnancy situation or an unintended pregnancy situation. We're looking to establish relationships with women really for the first time when they're 9 to 10 years old. That's the first time we want to have a client or patient encounter with them, where we're sharing with them that truth about their changing body and the goodness of it, so that there's never any mystery, there's never any shame, there's never a question mark about how good her body is. And so it's a little different than, what I think most people consider the pregnancy center model, in that we're creating a whole life health center. So we follow her from the point where she's just beginning puberty, all the way through her years of fertility as a hopefully maybe she becomes a mom or not. We help her with childbirth preparation and postpartum care, breastfeeding support, and then even into her years where she's transitioning with the grand climactic change of menopause. we're also there through that process too, so that a woman is never confused or unsure about what her body is doing, and what it should be doing, what is good and healthy.
So it's a women's health clinic model, really, because it could be before or after the pregnancy that you're serving the moms and you're doing it holistically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're really looking at changing the norm of what is considered healthy in our country. When we look at abortion and we look at where it came from in our country, it came through the vehicle of healthcare. It came through the women's healthcare movement, that abortion all of a sudden became this enshrined women's right. And that took a long time to lay that rhetoric, to lay that worldview in place, where women all of a sudden demanded that their pregnancies be destroyed as a right. 150 years prior to that, that would have been an unthinkable thing for women to have, advocated for. They would have seen that as very misogynistic. They would have seen that as very, just that it would have been disrespectful to what a woman's body was doing. And so it took the women's movement and the feminist movement evolving to a point and using the relationship with doctors and healthcare to really create and enshrine this as something that's considered healthy now. And it's considered so sacred that this is something between a woman and her doctor only, and that anybody else that wants to talk about it outside of the doctor-patient confidentiality, is seen as a rogue activist. And it's kind of ridiculous that it got this protected status through healthcare. And so in order to really undo that, we need to walk this back and say, we don't accept this as healthy. We don't accept this as what is best for women. And so it's really redefining the norm of healthcare. What is healthy and good for a woman's body?
Right. Healthcare is taking care of a body and not killing a body. And there's just so many things that is against abortion and healthcare just shouldn't go together. I posted something last night, or I reshared something that said abortion is false feminism. And
Absolutely.
I think that's so the case. Feminism is about empowering women, and you can have your baby in your dreams too, and you're strong. And yes, it's going to be hard. No one's going to lie to you and say that it is, but that it's going to be easy, but we can make sure that you don't have to walk alone, because we're women and we're strong. And especially when we lean on God, He's got us. And the world has taken that word feminism and made it into something that it totally is not. What do you feel like is true feminism?
Oh, gosh. True feminism is that woman who can see that she knows who created her, and she knows why she was created, and it was out of love. And therefore, when she looks at her body, she looks at herself, she looks at her abilities, her unique femaleness, she doesn't see a problem. She doesn't see a barrier. She sees the body that she lives in as truly part of herself, that this is who I am. I was made this way with great intention and purpose and love, and I am not the problem. A true feminist would look at the culture and would look at the workplace and the world and all these challenges that make it difficult to, choose your education alongside motherhood and choose your career alongside motherhood. And a true feminist would look at the system and say, this system is demanding that I change to fit into it. What needs to change is the system. We need to look at workplace policies that advocate for on-site child watch and lactating rooms and good maternity and paternity leaves. A true feminist is a woman that never accepts a solution where her body or her pregnancies are the problem.
That's good. I know that you've studied a lot about feminists and the history of feminism. Who are some of your favorite feminists, and how are they different from today's feminists?
Oh gosh, some of my favorites. There's so much personality in the first and second wave of feminist activism. In the first wave, we've got, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and those kind of Susan B. Anthony, those giants of thought. And I really love a lot of Susan B. Anthony's stuff. I have a special admiration for Elizabeth Cady Stanton. She's the mother of 7. I too am the mother of 7. And I just liked the spunk that she had. One of my favorites, actually, she's not typically counted along with feminists, but would be Edith Stein. She's done a lot of really incredible writing about just the gifts and the roles of women, and really challenged at a time when it was not common. She challenged the place of women in the world and in the workforce. And those type of trailblazers are just, they're really unique in their time, but we need to look to them because they didn't settle for the status quo. They didn't, just settle and say, okay, well, I guess I either have to be home or in the workplace. I have to be this or that. They just said, it's not so black and white. Women exist with a myriad of gifts and talents, and God is going to ask us to live them out in many different ways. So those are the women I really admire, the ones that kind of buck the system a little bit.
Yeah. And then when do you think that things changed? Like now when you see, Reese Witherspoon or different people that have accepted their awards or their Grammys or their Emmys or whatever, and they're like, thank you for having the access for abortions because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. Like it's feminism has taken this weird turn where it really has become a lot about abortion.
Are you looking for a way to get involved in the pro-life and pro-love movement? We have the perfect place for you and would love to invite you to join the Embrace Grace Revival Alliance. Come be a part of this group of passionate monthly donors, joining us on the exciting mission to help women with unplanned pregnancies be brave in their choice for life. You have the opportunity to play a vital part in providing single and pregnant women with spiritual, emotional, and physical support, saving lives of mamas and their babies, both physically and eternally. Visit www.embracegrace.com/donate to learn more.
I mean, and Michelle Williams, the one that comes to mind immediately with her acceptance speech about she wouldn't be accepting this award without abortion. And I just watched that with so much sadness, and I just could not help but note the irony of this entire situation following the Me Too movement, following women say, I'm going to make it on my own terms. I don't need a man to prop me up. I'm not going to, perform sexual favors to get the job that I want. Yet at the exact same time, they absolutely are willing to sacrifice a very sacred and vital part of themselves, which is their motherhood. And so to say I made it on my own, no, you didn't. You didn't make it on your own because you were a mother and you left that part behind. Mm-hmm. And so that's just the sad, tragic part. I think this kind of mental separation that your identity changes. You become a mother. And you can either change the world to make that easier for mothers, or you can contribute to a system that continues to say that motherhood's a liability. And that's what they're doing, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I love that you're like, I'm going to be the change that I want to see in the world. And you've seen how feminism has gone the wrong direction, and you want to bring it back to what holistic feminism is. And Guiding Star, this organization that you started, is really doing that. And so tell us all the locations where you're at and what sets you apart. I mean, obviously we talked a little bit about the before and the after. That definitely sets you apart from a pregnancy center. But as far as actually caring for a woman that is either pregnant or right after she has a baby, I know that I've heard things about childcare and the lactation consulting and the different things that you guys do, that it's a lot different. Tell us a little bit about how you serve these women with unexpected pregnancies.
Yeah, so first, we have 6 locations currently. We're in 4 states, kind of along the Midwest. We do have one in Texas, though. It's kind of sort of down, not really by you. It's in El Paso. I don't know if that's even considered Texas anymore.
It still is.
But there is one in Texas. And then we have 3 in Iowa, Cedar Valley, Orange City, and Marshalltown, 1 in Minnesota, in West St. Paul, and then 1 in Memphis, Tennessee. And we have a few more twinkles that are in development that I think we'll probably be able to announce them fairly soon. So a few more locations around the country are also going to have Guiding Star services. But what we bring to a community, that's completely unique, I think, oftentimes is this really natural kind of organic approach to healthcare that, we try to be hormone-free in all of our things, but we really don't see the need to artificially alter, suppress, or destroy a woman's fertility or her childbearing abilities or her breastfeeding abilities. We think that natural is usually best, and we try to support the natural processes always. And that really comes down to our core services. Every one of our centers, you're going to see that we offer fertility, childbirth, and breastfeeding, and then along with family life services. And so the family life services is what looks a little more like a pregnancy center. We might have some material goods, clothes, diapers, things like that. All of our centers have a drop-in child watch. That is standard and not negotiable because I'm a mom of 7, and I've known a lot of moms with young kids where there are days where you may be open to life and you may be pro-life, but you're on the edge, and you might, if you don't have the help you need, and we've really broken down our support systems. We don't have the support we used to have with sisters and neighbors and families close by. You might just need to drop your baby off for a couple hours and take a nap. Mm-hmm. And that is something that we absolutely want to support in our centers as well, because we have to create these family places, these places where children are always welcome.
For the mom too, if she doesn't have a break ever, then for her mental health, it is very important that she can have, even if it's small breaks like that, or take a shower, go home and take a shower, whatever she needs to do to just catch her breath for a minute is huge.
Absolutely. I mean, heaven forbid that somebody shakes a baby or abandons a baby or hurts a child because they just can't do it. Mm-hmm. And these are not necessarily evil people. These are just moms on the edge. And we see them. And so we make that mandatory in each of our centers that they have that drop-in child watch where for up to 2 hours at a time, mom can just come in and really it's for the mom that's coming to use the services in our centers, because there have been a lot of moms that have had to take toddlers into the exam room when they're pregnant. Mm-hmm. You get your feet up in the stirrups and your 3-year-old sitting right there. And that's awful and awkward. And we don't want moms to have to face those situations, because that's the sort of situation that makes a woman who wasn't considering abortion start thinking about it, because it gets really hard the more kids you have. And those looks from nurses and staff members when you're, toting, I had this happen. I had my first 4 kids in under 5 years. Mm-hmm. And so I was pregnant with baby number 4, and I'm bringing 3 toddlers into my prenatal appointments. And I just felt so embarrassed and shamed. And there was no reason. I have these beautiful children. I shouldn't be ashamed of that.
Right. I know I'm obsessed with looking at your little Esther. She is that dark hair and those blue eyes. She is so cute. Cannot even handle it. So, and you're just doing it all like girl boss, which is totally amazing. And you ended up writing a book. You started an organization, you wrote a book. So tell us a little bit about the Wholistic Feminism book that you wrote.
Yeah, this book has been in my brain for like a decade, and it was just, I was having babies instead of birthing books, for so long. So, I did my master's thesis in 2012 when I did, I have a master's in women's health and wellness with a specialty in lactation consulting. And when I wrote my master's thesis is when I really did that deep dive into feminism and how did we get here with women's health care? How did we get to this spot where abortion is seen as the ultimate right and service for women's health care? And when I spent that time intensively researching it, I pretty much wrote the outline to the book back in 2012. And it just took this long, for it to finally come into being. It took me taking a sabbatical, from Guiding Star for 8 weeks and saying, I have 8 weeks, I'm going to finish the book. And I did. So that's how it happened. Yeah.
So good. And I know I can't wait to read it. And I just want to encourage everyone to read it. Leah has done her homework on this stuff, spent her whole life devoted to this topic and this subject, and to really be the change that she wants to see in the world. And with serving and Guiding Star, where do you, as we close, what are good ways that you could encourage people to help single moms or moms with unexpected pregnancies? Or what kind of volunteer opportunities do you have at a place like Guiding Star?
Well, first of all, I actually always encourage, when we have a Guiding Star center in a city, when people offer to volunteer, I always ask first, what's your church doing? Because you guys have hit onto something incredibly important, Amy, with Embrace Grace in the churches, that these women need spiritual homes as well. I mean, we're carrying physical bond in our centers, but we often direct volunteers starting an Embrace Grace group. So,
yes, we'll take them.
But after they've got a good spiritual home base for them to really care for the spiritual aspect of their health, In our centers, we're always looking for people to help with that child watch because we do have beautiful kids that get dropped off, when moms are going to appointments or when they're in a crisis situation. We always need child watch help. There's lots of things in our centers that you can do, sort clothes, help with the material goods stuff, get trained, in one of our services to help teach classes, lots of things in the centers. If there's not a Guiding Star Center near you and you come upon a woman that's just not sure about her body or her fertility, or she thinks of herself negatively, really encourage her to start learning just the basics of like her fertility and empowering her and saying, your body is not the problem. Like, you're created good. Like, you deserve health care that helps you understand and love your own body. Just putting a positive narrative out there right now is incredibly important for young women. They just don't know how good they are and they don't believe in themselves. And so if you don't know how good your own body is, how are you ever going to treasure and protect the little body within your body?
So true.
You are good and what you make is good.
That's so true. Okay, tell everybody how they can connect with Guiding Star as well as how they can connect to your book.
Yeah, so Guiding Star, we're online. GuidingStarProject.com is our website. Facebook, Guiding Star Project. I am at Wholistic Feminism on Instagram. Wholistic with a W for whole, because that's the important part of this, is that your mind, your body, and spirit make you whole, and they all need to be healthy. The book can be bought on Amazon or at our lumenpress.com. .org. I'm sorry, lumenpress.org at that website. So LUMEN.
Awesome. And we'll link to both in our show notes as well. Thank you so much, Leah, for coming on. And I hope that inspires everyone to, even if you don't have a Guiding Star in your area, like reaching out to a single mom and asking them to hold their baby, to buy a single mom this book, Wholistic Feminism, get one for you, get one for a single mama, to really understand the history and the why of why we should appreciate the miracle of our bodies and how God made us, and as women, the power that we can have in a healthy way and love men too, because we need the men. So I'm just so thankful for your heart and passion. It's so needed in the pro-life movement, Leah, and you're just amazing. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks so much for having me, Amy. This was fun.
Thank you so much for watching today, and please share this episode with your friends via YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. And also make sure that you like our pages and give us good reviews, because the more good reviews we get, the higher up that we get in our ratings. And we want everybody to be able to hear this message, because we believe that together we can make abortion unthinkable if we're all doing our part and helping women be brave and choose life. And we all have something to give in the pro-life movement. So really, I hope that this whole podcast series stirs your heart to action, that it's not just another podcast that you listen to each week, but it's something where you're really asking God what it is that you have to give. What is stirring your heart to passion, from passion to action? And I hope even today with feminism, I think even when we're teaching our kids and our girls about what feminism is, this is the narrative of what we need to be teaching our kids about it, because what the world's view of it is not the true form of girl power. This is girl power. If you can have your baby in your dreams too. So thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you next.